Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. Before I get into today's subject, I just have to make a quick announcement. You probably already know about this because I record these the day before you see them. But the Mars lander, the new Mars lander, Perseverance, has just landed safely on Mars a few minutes before I'm recording this. So I thought you'd like to know it's already sending back photos. I'm sure that, well, they're low resolution photos right now, better photos coming later. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Also, this is going to be the first time this particular lander has a separate helicopter, a helicopter that is going to be able to scout the terrain ahead of the lander so it doesn't drive into a ditch or whatever, as happens sometime here in the United States of America on planet Earth when people drive into a ditch. Maybe some of us need a helicopter to go ahead of us and scout the area. Anyways, I just wanted to let you know about that. One other thing I'm going to let you know now, I've talked in the past about the lack of freedom of speech on YouTube, that they censor videos, that, well, it happened to me once, it just happened again. If you say anything, you have to be very careful about what you say about the election, because your video can be taken down. So one of mine was taken down, and this one was completely factual. I wasn't even challenging the results of the election. I was just talking about something that happened at the Georgia State Senate, the Georgia State Senate Judiciary Committee, a hearing that they actually held. Everything was factual, and YouTube took it down. So I am hoping and praying for an alternative to YouTube someday. Parler, as you know, or I hope you know by now, is back up. And they are creating what they call, I talked about this yesterday, a complete tech ecosystem, something like that. Everything from the cloud hosting all the way down to the ground, and credit card processing, everything, so that there would no longer, so Parler would no longer need to rely on other providers who could, for any reason, at any time, just take them completely off the internet. I'm hoping, as I said yesterday, that this will be something that Parler could, well, it could be an income generator for them if they, for a price, made their whole system available to others. So I see nothing but upside to it. So I hope they would do that, and I hope that they or somebody would come up with an alternative to YouTube where you get enough of an audience that it makes sense to go on to that platform, and then I would leave YouTube, because at least for the political stuff, I have other channels, but for the political stuff, because they censor. And it's just not right. So I want to get that out. Now I'm going to Joe Biden, and this is really, I don't know whether to be, well, sad or outraged, or it's just, well, I'm going to show you first a clip of Joe Biden. He did on CNN a town hall a couple of days ago. He was asked about China, and he talked about China. Well, he was asked about, by Anderson Cooper, he was asked about, Biden was, about China's human rights violations, specifically the way they treat the Uyghurs, and of course Hong Kong. And, well, I won't go into all the detail. What I'm going to do is just show you the video, what Biden was asked and how Biden replied. So here's the video.
You know, Chinese leaders, if you know anything about Chinese history, it has always been the time when China has been victimized by the outer world is when they haven't been unified at home. So the central, vastly overstated, the central principle of Xi Jinping is that there must be a united, tightly controlled China. And he uses his rationale for the things he does based on that. I point out to him, no American president can be sustained as a president if he doesn't reflect the values of the United States. And so the idea, I'm not going to speak out against what he's doing in Hong Kong, what he's doing with the Uyghurs in western mountains of China, and Taiwan trying to end the one China policy by making it forceful. I said, and by the way, he said he gets it. Culturally, there are different norms that each country and their leaders are expected to follow.
You noticed in that video one particular phrase, different cultural norms. So from what I can see, Biden is just going to talk about China. He's going to have his ambassador to the UN make speeches in the UN. I see nothing really beyond that. It's a criticism I have of Trump too, a milder criticism, because Trump put on tariffs and he is trying to do something about, or he was trying to do something about China when he was president. But Biden looks like he's just going to talk. He's just going to say something is wrong and not try to do anything. I have a special, my greatest beef is with the National Basketball Association and other businesses, Apple, Google, people. Well, I see some of them are moving their manufacturing out of China, but they still want to do business. Hollywood is censoring its own films to please the Chinese audience because it is such a big market. And as they are about to find out, if they are not already, the films that are now made in China, native domestic Chinese films, are now more popular. They have bigger box office than the Hollywood films. So it's going to be interesting to see what Hollywood does going forward. But they censor what they do to please China. And that's what China wants. They don't want to conquer the world and invade other countries. They just want all the countries of the world to have to kowtow to them, to be afraid of saying anything that is critical of China, to let what I'm going to show you in a second, these human right abuses in China, to let them go on and the world not say anything about it for fear of offending China. The first thing I want to talk about, well, this is also about China. Before I get to the human rights abuses, I'm really sick of people like Tom Friedman complimenting China and saying how wonderful China is, their totalitarian system, so that they can, quote unquote, get things done without having to deal with messy democracy. And they talk about how unified China is. Well, that's what Biden was just talking about, as you just saw. But they talk about how China is showing its people that democracy is not something to be wished for, because we have all these demonstrations and Black Lives Matter and on and on and on and on, and none of that happens in China. Well, I have some news for people who believe, well, not for China, because they know this. They just don't tell anybody, and people don't report it, or not as much as they should. So I don't have the headline in front of me. I forgot to take it with me to the camera, so I can't read it off to you. But you can see the headline there, that there is a demonstration in China. This is a demonstration. Well, there are demonstrations. They have been reported in the past, but this is a coronavirus lockdown in a particular location in China. The city has been locked down and the people are fed up. Just watch the demonstration for yourself. So don't tell me how wonderful China is and how unified the society is and how calm and orderly everything is. It's not true. You just saw the evidence right there. Now we get back to Joe Biden and what he was saying about the human rights abuses in China. Well, he said that he used that term, cultural norms. They have different cultural norms in China. Well, how'd you like to see what these cultural norms, these different cultural norms are? I specifically talk about the Uyghurs. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of videos. This first one is, well, you've heard about the Uyghurs being put into these concentration camps, slave labor, some of them being sterilized, the women. So, and we have Democrats, some of our Democratic friends say, well, that's not genocide because you're not going out, they're not going out and slaughtering Uyghurs. But when you sterilize people, when you try to reduce the population by other means, that's still genocide. They're trying to eliminate the Uyghurs. That's that when you talk about this unified society that China is supposed to have, well, they don't have it. I just showed you that demonstration video, but they are trying to create that society by making everybody in China Chinese and getting rid of everybody who is not Chinese, or at least these Uyghurs, who, I guess because they're Muslims, they're particularly troublesome for China, which is completely secular. They are also, this will be another video, they are also going after Christian churches. Christianity, believe it or not, is there are millions of Christians in China. It is a very fast growing religion in China, and the Chinese are worried about it. They are cracking down on the Christian Chinese. I'll go into more detail in a later video, but what I want to show right now is what is happening to the Uyghurs in this society that just happens to have, according to Joe Biden, they just have different cultural norms. I want to show you these different cultural norms that Joe Biden is talking about. I'm going to show you a couple videos. Here is the first one. Some brave Chinese person sent up a drone and created video of Uyghurs sitting blindfolded. They're sitting on the ground, blindfolded, about to be sent who knows where. So watch that video first. You just saw the Uyghurs sitting blindfolded. Now here's a second video of the Uyghurs still blindfolded, being marched down the street, guarded by Chinese soldiers or Chinese gendarmes. I don't know what you want to call them, but they're Chinese, and they have these Uyghurs lined up in a nice, neat double row, marching them off to who knows where, to who knows what fate. So it's disturbing. I'll warn you ahead. I should have warned you about the video before. It's disturbing, but here's the video. Watch. With those two videos that you just saw, it can no longer be denied what is happening in China, or put it another way, because our Democratic friends and our friends in Hollywood and politicians, they aren't saying that something isn't happening, but they are not talking about how serious it is. And I don't think they want to. I don't think they want to be, especially Joe Biden, our weak president, well, I just had a video taken down, so I should say our wonderful president, our weak but wonderful president, or wonderful but weak president. I hope I can criticize the president at least. This is still, it's not China. I hope I won't be blindfolded and marched off somewhere, and none of you either. You conservatives, you liberals, you don't have to worry. You're safe. It's we conservatives who have to worry. But something has to be done, and I hope somebody will be, could you imagine if that were the 1940s and 1930s with Jews being rounded up in Germany, Nazi Germany, and sent off to concentration camps, and FDR getting up, doing an interview and saying, well, it's just a different cultural norm. Can you imagine that? But that's not a far cry from what is happening to these Uyghurs now in China, and it really disturbs me that we're not doing anything about it, that these companies and Hollywood producers and even politicians are putting profit ahead of human rights. And in fact, I don't even think we're talking about human rights, or I mean, we're talking about more than that. I think we're talking about human existence, just living, being alive, just not having your entire ethnic group just disappear with nobody saying anything or nobody doing anything. So, I don't know. I could just go on, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to, as usual, this time, thumbs up if you like this video, but especially share this with everybody with whom you can share it. Everybody should know about this, and hopefully the right Congress people, and just raise a ruckus about this. Something has to be done. You can't just ignore it. And you could, if you have comments on this, comments section below the video, you can ask questions, suggest future topics. I love getting new subscribers, so I hope you'll subscribe. And you can visit my music channel. I have a music channel. I really feel bad talking about music channels and things and subscribing after what I just told you about the Uyghurs, but forgive me, I do want to expand my reach. So I have a link in the description to my music channel. And I'll just say that I appreciate the time that you're spending with me. And again, I really hope that you will share this video or just share the videos that I put in my video, or just let people know what's happening, and then come back and see me again. I would like to see everybody again. I look forward to seeing everybody again. And until I do see you all again, bye.